chapel for like all the athletics, a chaplain for the athletics. And he had been messaging me, was like, hey, like, let's go get lunch sometime. Let's go get lunch. And, you know, and with my schedule of school and baseball, thought I was too busy. And then one day I was finally like, you know what, I'm going to go have lunch with him. So we went and met at this little place and had lunch, and we kind of just dove in just talking. And I mean, I really just clicked with this guy right away. And one of the biggest things he told me, you know, we were talking about like in baseball battling with failure. Like, you know, failure is just part of the game. Yeah. You know, if you succeed 3 out of 10 times, you'll be in the Hall of Fame. So, you know, that's 70% of the time you're going to fail, you know. And I was kind of in a tough spot playing wise at that time, you know, and he looked at me, he's like, hey, he said, if you try to play for like if you're trying to make everybody like you, if you're trying to play for the approval of your coaches and your teammates and your scouts and everybody that way, he's like, you're never going to feel like you do enough, you know. He's like, play for the approval of God, because he's like, God doesn't care, you know. 0 for 4, 4 for 4, God does not care. He's going to love you the same. He's going to respect you. Like, it's all going to be the same. So I was like, okay. And he said, listen, he said, next time you strike out or you get out and you're mad, he said, look at the sky, think God loves me, and smile. So that game, like the next day, I kind of in a big situation, I think I hit into a double play, and I'm running through first, and I'm just, you know, fuming mad. And that popped in my head, and I just looked at the sky and I was like, God loves me either way. It doesn't matter. And it just didn't even have to try to smile, just smiled. Yeah. And I was like, wow. And I mean, I'm not kidding you. I remember that game that day, and it's like ever since then, it's like, it's not like baseball was less important to me, but I knew my approval didn't come from baseball. Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome back to SOGTV. Today I have a rather different kind of guest. Caleb Knight, Chicago Cubs baseball player. You are a catcher, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, just making sure. Didn't want to call you, you know, an outfielder or something like that. But anyway, so welcome, Caleb Knight. How's it going, buddy?
Going great. Excited to be here. Looking forward to doing this today.
Good deal. It's a little different for both of us. I mean, I know you've done a lot of podcasts and stuff, but not usually in person.
Yeah. This is my first one ever here in person. You got a nice studio here. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. So tell me a little bit about you. I know here's what I know. You're from Chakota. Mm-hmm. You play for the Cubs.
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Chakota. Grew up there my whole life. Lived in the same place my whole life. Went to high school there. After high school, I went to Connor State College in Warner. Played there for 2 years, and then was lucky enough to go on after there and played at the University of Virginia for 2 more years after that. Graduated there with my degree, and then signed to play with the Cubs in 2018, and been grinding away ever since with them.
Oh, wow.
So that's kind of the short version, yeah.
Is what you expected?
No, not at all. Not at all.
I haven't honestly. Chicago Cubs was actually my favorite team back in the day. But when I say back in the day, I'm talking about like early 90s, late 80s. You know, back in Sammy Sosa played for the Cubs, didn't he?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I'm a huge Sosa fan. I have to question that because that was, my God, that was back in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
And I can't remember back then. I was like 10.
Yeah, I get that a lot with, I guess, you know, like the WGN, all them day games that they'd play and everything. Yeah. I hear that a lot in Oklahoma, a lot of Cubs fans.
Yeah. That was why, was because we had a channel that they played all Cubs games and stuff. Back when you had, the television, the cable television. Yeah. You know, that because everybody had the same cable channels. But so you started in 2018. What made you want to even be a professional baseball player? Because that's, I mean, a lot of kids talk about it. Nobody really actually does anything. They'll play hard in school, but what made you think that you had what it takes?
Yeah, so it all just kind of started in high school, I guess. It was like, football was my love. That was my big love. In high school, I loved playing football. To me, there was nothing that compared to that feeling on Friday nights, you know, going out on the field and playing. And that's kind of how small town Oklahoma is, you know. It's like football is king, you know, and then baseball just kind of fell behind that. So that was really like my love going through. And, you know, I always played baseball. I played I've been playing since I was 4 years old, played T-ball there in Shakota, and then grew up playing on a few little travel teams with just a bunch of local Shakota kids. And as we went on, I actually had more football scholarships than I did baseball scholarships. You know, it was all smaller stuff. Yeah, nothing major, but I kind of just had to sit down and think, like, what do I have more of a future in? You know, I felt like I was a little small to play football, and it really just, as far as playing professionally, maybe wasn't my best opportunity. So I ended up with a couple baseball offers, and I met with Perry Keith over at Connors State, and man, just his intensity and just how he was as a person really just attracted me. And that was kind of my decision at the time. You know, obviously the dream was to play professionally, but it didn't seem very realistic at that point. So it was just kind of like a step at a time, you know. So I was like, all right, you know, I want to go play college. And my parents told me in high school, they were like, hey, you know, we're just going to be honest with you. If you don't get some kind of sports scholarship or academic scholarship, we don't know how we're going to get you through college. So that was always like my motivation, was like, okay, you know, I'm going to be the best student I can be in school, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to get a scholarship. And when he offered me, he gave me, you know, a full ride, and that's what that was the first step I took.
So did you go to go pro right after Connors, or no, you went to Virginia?
Yep.
Right? You went to Virginia. Did you graduate down there, or did you just?
No. So I went to Connors for 2 years. I actually turned down the draft. Had some calls after my first year, and then after my sophomore year, I had some pretty good opportunities I could have went after, but to me, the money wasn't right to just leave school that early with the opportunity I had at Virginia. So I decided to go on from there, and they offered me a scholarship, and went on there and played there for 2 years, turned down the draft after my junior year, and then came back my senior year and ended up breaking my hand.
Oh, wow.
So that was kind of a tough road, because, you know, I had a good opportunity in the draft my junior year, but I felt like I had some unfinished business at Virginia, and I just really wanted to go back. And I felt like if I had a really good, solid season, that I could have even better opportunities. And went back, was playing great. Everything was going awesome. I think I was hitting like 350 with 2 or 3 homers in the first month.
Wow.
And then we were playing down in Miami, 3 straight at bats, 3 hit by pitches, and the last one like caught me the side of my hand. Jeez. Broke my hand, tried to play through it, just couldn't do it, and then finally just kind of had to sit back and sit out the rest of the season. So there went my pretty much any opportunity in the draft that year. So went back. I ended up graduating, and the Cubs story is kind of crazy. I didn't get drafted, obviously, so I was kind of just hanging out and at home, and I ended up with an independent ball opportunity, which is like a separate league from minor league baseball that you can get signed into affiliate ball out of there. So I had a friend who had called me and said, hey, I've got this coach. He wants you to come play. So I was like, all right, I'll take up that opportunity. It's a team in Evansville, Indiana. Drove up there, moved in with the host family, was going to sign with the team the next day, and I woke up, took a shower, and I got out of the shower, and I had like 10 missed calls from a couple numbers I didn't know, and then from my coach at Virginia. So I called him back first. He's like, hey, the Cub Scout's trying to get a hold of you. And I was like, okay. He's like, give him a call back and call me. I was like, all right. So called him. First thing he said was, would you like to be a Chicago Cub? And I was
the Scouts for the Cubs. Okay, my brain went instantly to the Cub Scouts. They have a team.
No.
Nice.
The Scouts for the Cubs, yes. Yeah, so he said, would you like to be a Chicago Cubs? I said, absolutely yes, and packed all my stuff right up and drove 8 hours right back home.
Oh, wow.
Then been going ever since.
Nice. What was your intention in going to college? Was it purely just to play ball, or did you have a major?
Yeah, so I had my plan B, like in school, I always thought I wanted to do engineering. And I quickly learned that with baseball, that just the schedules, that was never going to work. So after going to Connors for 2 years, it was actually crazy. I think I graduated with my associates at Connors, so I had 60-something credits coming out of there. Yeah. Well, with Virginia being the school it was, I think only like 40 credits transferred. Oh, wow. So that put me like behind in school, which was crazy because, you know, if I would have transferred to Oklahoma or OSU, all those credits would have transferred. So that was kind of a tough path to navigate. So my degrees were very limited. So I basically had 2 options. It was like history and then like this other interdisciplinary degree called American Studies. So I didn't want to just do history, so I ended up doing that. But kinesiology was something I really liked too, because I like the, you know, the fitness side and like the body science, and that was what I wanted to do. And when I talked to my academic coordinator, I was like, hey, I want to do kinesiology. She was like, I went on my visit to Virginia in April. Yeah. So I was like, I'd like to do kinesiology. I took a bunch of those classes at Connor. She's like, well, the deadline to get into that school is in February. And I was like, oh, well, I didn't have this opportunity then. So
I think every history professor or teacher I have had has coached some type of ball.
Yeah.
It's just what it was.
Yeah, 100%. It's kind of just the generic degree. And
it okay, as a teacher, it may be easy because you're just reading off stuff. But history is not really that easy. Otherwise, people would remember it, but they don't.
Yeah.
I mean, we see constantly people saying stuff that's just stupid because they don't know anything about history. But so you go on, you play baseball, and so you got to choose your plan A, I assume?
Yeah. It wasn't the ideal path, but it definitely I feel like it developed me as a person and really, really prepared me and has gotten me to where I am today. And, looking back, it wasn't ideal, but I'm definitely thankful for it today, with who it has made me as a person and just the people I've met along the way and everything to go with that.
Do you think you breaking your hand helped or hurt?
I mean, looking back at my career so far, it's like, to me, it did nothing but help me because I feel like I've been, the only way I can truly say it hurt me was maybe from a financial standpoint, because I lost money in the draft that, I basically could have had with just saying yes. But, I felt like, and that's always kind of been me as a person. I just felt like I had more to prove. And I really, really feel like that it developed me, just that even that extra year in school developed me and helped me a lot in pro ball.
So it might have been the catalyst. That got you to the Cubs.
Yeah, 100%. And, if I would have took that opportunity out of the draft, with the way COVID was and everything, I could have been with some team and, heck, half minor league players got cut during COVID. I could have got cut during COVID and, had been done 4 years ago. So I definitely am very blessed, and I feel like, God put me in that situation for a reason, and so just following his plan.
Good. You could have been one of them cutouts at the Major League Baseball games that they used, which was funny. That was the first time I even looked at a Major League, and I quit watching honestly because of because of all that drama in the 90s and stuff. Now that I look at it, I'm like, that's really wasn't that big of a deal, but they made it a big deal and stuff. But baseball, I still look at baseball as it's America's sport.
Yeah, I agree.
A lot of people that don't understand it don't see how it is, but you cannot let the team carry you in baseball.
Yeah. Something that always reminds me, just like you said, America's sport is, with how long our season is, you go through like peaks and valleys, like getting burnt out and everything, but it's something about like July 1st through July 5th, like that 4th of July week every single year is just unbelievable. And I feel like it just really, seeing all the people come to the ballpark, the fireworks, the atmosphere, it's truly an unbelievable feeling. And every year I like get that same fire, and it's like, this is America's pastime. There's been 4th of July in baseball going on forever, and it's always really neat to see that.
Yeah. I've never gone to a professional game. I went to the Tulsa Drillers several times when I was a kid. And I wanted to be a baseball player, but I really sucked a lot. In fact, I sucked so bad that Coach Clover, when I applied, Shkoda, I don't know if they're the same way, but everybody was on the team. I mean, back then, I went. He said, "You mean you've only played one summer in your life?" I'm like, "Yep." And I was like 115 pounds. I mean, I was really tiny. Not athletic at all. And he said, yeah, you probably need to be getting into something. I was like, well, I wanted baseball. So I did it. And the first season, I mean, I couldn't throw from, me to that door over there, 10, 15 yards and actually hit the door. But after that summer, I went, I played summer ball, but I worked my butt off to get good, to get where I was decent, not good. Mm-hmm. And then I went to go to class, and I found out that I was unenrolled out of baseball into keyboarding. And so me being the type of guy I am, I enrolled myself back into baseball and showed up, and the coach was not very excited about that. And I sat on the bench more that year than I did the previous year. And probably would have stayed in baseball, but I ended up having to have back surgery like that year. We had a left-handed pitcher who, I mean, he could throw 90-something miles an hour left-handed. And he struck me in my back, and I ended up having back surgery. But I think baseball was one of my first examples of how important teamwork was, how important, I don't know, it's like the whole thing is about becoming a better person.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not, I played football a little bit, and there was something different about baseball. Your teammates and stuff, people were closer. They didn't get in their little cliques.
Yeah. And one of my biggest phrases that I use and tell people all the time is that playing this game, especially in my career, I've played with so many more people who are way more talented than I am, but being a good teammate and being a consistent person, like with as long of a season as we have and the ups and the down, like if you show up every day and you like take pride in just being upbeat, being positive, and just being a good energy for all your teammates, and then, you know, leading that, being a good teammate, that'll take you so much further than just talent, you know. And that's the biggest thing that I feel like you can do in baseball is, to me, like, I feel like my career has been as long as it has because of that. You know, it's not my talent. It's not anything to do with the actual playing the game of baseball. It's just I feel like the person that I show up and I am every single day, and I know that I try to instill that in a lot of the younger kids I work with. You know, it's like, yeah, talent's important. Don't get me wrong. It'll get you there, but what keeps you around and what gets you liked in the game is being that good teammate and just being a good person.
Yeah, which I think this nation is lacking. We see a lot of people that's all about being the star, and you see professionals that are doing the same thing. It's like they think they call themselves the GOAT. A lot of them created it themselves because they want that respect from people so much that they will run over anybody just so that they can be the GOAT. But the fact is that we need more people that care about the team. They realize, it's like in business, so they say it all the time. If you want to get great, help somebody else get great. Mm-hmm. And you don't see that a lot anymore in outside, like not from your perspective, but from my perspective, you see people that are just trying to be the best themselves. Anyway, I see that you have a cross on, and around here nobody wears a cross just for looks. Mm-hmm. So are you a Christian?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I mean, not that I'm not one that really matters, just because I think it's a personal decision. How did that play into sports?
It's been huge for me. I have two big learning points, I feel like, with my journey, with Christ that have played directly into baseball. And one of the biggest ones was my high school coach all the time would tell us, you reap what you sow, and he'd constantly preach that to us. And, at the time, when you're a young high school kid, you're kind of like, you understand what that means. You're like, okay, yeah, you work hard, you'll be rewarded. And it's like, okay. But I'll never forget my senior year, we really dug into that, and we believed that, and we cherished that. And then, we worked so hard, and we never had any plans of, doing anything in the postseason. No team from Shakota had ever really played in the postseason. Yeah. So postseason comes around, and we're going to a really tough regional at Metro Christian, one of the top teams in the state. It was like at the time, it didn't even seem like we belonged on the same field as them. And we go there, and I mean, we played lights out, and we win that regional. Wow. And it was like, oh, wow, we had no intentions, And it was like, okay, we kept talking about that. You reap what you sow. Like, this is the harvest, like from all the seed that we've sown, like this is what we're getting back. And then we go to the state tournament, and it was like, okay, this is awesome. Like, we're just happy to be here, And we go out, we win the first game of the state tournament, and it was like, wow, like this is really neat. And we ended up getting beat in the semifinals, but just that whole journey was like, wow, so that's what it means, we sowed all this seed and we came together as a team, and every one of us truly believed that, we're going to work hard. We're going to show up early. We're going to leave late. We're going to come and hit on the weekends. We're going to do the extra. We would go up to the field and we'd crawl over the fence into the little thing, flip the lights on the field and hit all night, and it was just, that was really one of the biggest like lessons I learned as far as baseball and directly related to Christ, like early in my life. But then the next thing was I was at Virginia and we had like this, he was in chapel for like all the athletics, a chaplain for the athletics. And he had been messaging me, was like, hey, like, let's go get lunch sometime. Let's go get lunch. And, and with my schedule of school and baseball, thought I was too busy. And then one day I was finally like, you know what, I'm going to go have lunch with him. So we went and met at this little place and had lunch, and we kind of just dove in just talking. And I mean, I really just clicked with this guy right away.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest things he told me, we were talking about like in baseball battling with failure, like, failure is just part of the game. Yeah. If you succeed 3 out of 10 times, you'll be in the Hall of Fame. So, that's 70% of the time you're going to fail, and I was kind of in a tough spot playing wise at that time, and he looked at me, he's like, hey, he said, if you try to play for like if you're trying to make everybody like you, if you're trying to play for the approval of your coaches and your teammates and your scouts and everybody that way, he's like, you're never going to feel like you do enough, He's like, play for the approval of God, because he's like, God doesn't care, 0 for 4, 4 for 4, God does not care. He's going to love you the same. He's going to respect you. Like, it's all going to be the same. So I was like, okay. And he said, listen, next time you strike out or you get out and you're mad, he said, look at the sky, think God loves me, and smile. Mm-hmm. So that game, like the next day, I kind of in a big situation, I think I hit into a double play, and I'm running through first and I'm just, fuming mad. And that popped in my head, and I just looked at the sky and I was like, God loves me either way. It doesn't matter. And it just didn't even have to try to smile, just smiled. Yeah. And I was like, wow. And I mean, I'm not kidding you. I remember that game that day, and it's like ever since then, it's like, it's not like baseball was less important to me, but I knew my approval didn't come from baseball. Yeah. God loved me. The bad days, the good days, God loves me the same. And you got to be that way on the good days too. If you're 4-4, 2 homers, you can't get overly. So, and that's something I really, I see a lot of my teammates in pro ball struggle with, is like the ups and the downs. They're really good one day and then terrible the next day. And it's like, hey, if you truly give yourself to God and you play for God's approval, you're going to like eliminate those ruts, and you're going to really find yourself being a lot more consistent. So that was really the second biggest thing. And being that way in baseball, I mean, it translated right into life. Nice. Bad things happen to you, good things happen to you. Like, it doesn't matter. Just be consistent and do whatever you think you need to do to make God happy. And that's really been a big part of my life.
It's it seems to be the thing about criticizing Christians, and I'm bad about it, and I am Christian, but I wasn't raised a Christian, and your outlook is exactly what I think Christians were supposed to do, because when I read the letters in red, what Jesus said, it was about this life. It was about your attitude towards things now. He wasn't so focused on the 3 days. I say that, he was focused on 3 years that he was teaching, that the lessons about, reaping, about, your attitude and thanking God, and loving everybody. I mean, I've had arguments or debates sort of with people that says Jesus never said to love everybody. I'm like, where are they getting this from? But if you realize that if you follow that example, just be grateful that your life becomes exponentially better. I mean, you start enjoying it. And what I've noticed in publicity and celebrities, a lot of them that do believe are quiet. They won't say anything because they're afraid that they're going to lose, they're going to be canceled by somebody who's against this or that. And what's your thought process on being canceled for your belief system?
To me, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me at all. It's like, I'm going to say what I say. I'm going to do what I do. And I agree. I do see it. But it's like being in that environment, being around a lot of those people, I feel like sometimes people, it's like the easy way out to be quiet about it, you know? But then again, it's also like, I feel like it's more of, I know what I believe in. I will spread it with whoever like wants to hear it or whoever I think needs to hear it, you know? Yeah. But it's like, at the end of the day, it's like, whatever, like, it doesn't matter, you know? I don't care if I'm ever canceled. I don't care, you know? I'm going to believe what I believe, and that's it.
Nice. I agree with that.
Yeah. It's kind of, it's lack of caring, really, you know? It's like I will speak to who I think needs to hear it, and I will spread his word in any way I can, and really don't matter to me what anybody thinks.
Yeah. If we'd all start following that policy, we might get further in life.
Yeah.
Do you remember a time that you ever did care about what other people thought about stuff like that?
No, really not. I mean, I feel like that's just the way I was raised, you know? And it's like my mom and my dad, it's like anytime you get overly confident or anytime something bad happens, that's always what they've went to, you know, went to the Lord, you know? And it's like that, it's been that way my whole life, and that's what they instilled in me. So to me, it's not an option, you know? And it's like, I show up to the field some days, and I have teammates who will ask me, like, why are you so positive? Like, why are you just so upbeat? Like, it seems like you never have a bad day. And I'm like, it's because I give my life to God, you know, every single day. It's like, even if I have a bad day, you know, I go home, I pray about it, I give it all to God, and tomorrow's a new day, you know? And it's like, if we all could just understand that and like instill that into our lives, you know, I feel like it's just, life's too short, you know, to just be stressed out. And it's like to try to force happiness. I feel like that's what we see a lot nowadays, is people try to like portray this image of like, oh, I'm happy, you know, like life's great, when it's like, what really matters is what's inside of you, know, what's in your heart. That's like, to me, is because if your heart isn't happy, like, you're never going to truly be happy, no matter what you're showing on the outside. So that's always been my go-to, is like, what I feel in my heart, I feel like that's what's going to come out. Yeah, that's what I live by.
Nice. So I realize that being the off season, you're here in Dakota. How does that work out? Do you only train during season, or? So we stay booked up. I'll usually go to spring training middle of February, and then from February till pretty much the end of September is baseball. So I'll come home. I get to come home the end of September, and pretty much October, November, December, January, like, I'm free man. I really have no baseball obligations, like, as far as with the Cubs, you know. We, you know, we're grown men. You're expected to stay in shape. If you show up to spring training out of shape, you know, you'll get released. So I come home. I'll usually just kind of relax the month of October, take it easy. And then I stay in the weight room pretty much, I mean, nonstop. That's just part of my everyday life. Like, I don't even think about it anymore. I work out 3-4 days a week. And people that actually lift weights don't stop lifting weights unless they medically can't.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I kind of do more maintaining during the season just to keep the body fresh, and then I come home and I'll try to put on a little bit of weight October, November, December, which is always easy with the holidays and how you're eating. But that's really my focus. And then the end of November, going into December, I'll start ramping it up, hitting inside. I give a bunch of lessons. I always play catch and throw with my younger kids, so that kind of takes care of that. And then starting in January, I'll go over to Connors, and Perry has been such a blessing to me in that aspect. I'll go over there. They enter squad 3-4 days a week. He's like, hey, lead off every inning, get as many at-bats as you want. If you want to catch innings, let me know. Take BP with us, hitting every group. So I go over there the whole month of January, and by the time February comes around,
you're warmed up.
I'm ready to go, yeah. So that's usually kind of my off-season schedule.
Good deal. So I hear you like duck hunting.
Yeah, I do love to duck hunt. That definitely takes care of my competitive edge during the off-season.
Yeah, because there's a lot of that. I don't know very many people that go duck hunting alone.
No, it takes care of the camaraderie with the guys, because that's what COVID taught me. When I came home from COVID and missed that whole season, I didn't necessarily miss baseball. I missed being with the guys. Yeah. You know, the locker room every day, the clubhouse. You know, just those conversations, those times. So that's kind of that's what takes care of that. 'Cause, you know, I come home, I have a house to myself. I live on my own during the off season. You know, and you're used to being with 30 other teammates, you know, for 6 months every single day. So that'll kind of bother me every now and then. But boy, getting out there in the duck blind with some of my best friends that really takes care of that.
Nice. So I heard you say you do have kids?
No kids.
No kids.
I give lessons to a lot of younger
you
kids.
call them your kids.
Yeah,
Okay, as
my
long
kids.
as you're not calling your little pet your fur baby or something.
No kids.
I would strongly make fun of you for that, by the way.
I would too.
Yeah. We don't do fur babies at my house.
Yeah.
I'm like, my dog is around so he can help me out. And if ever the apocalypse happens and we have no food, I have a dog.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
That's what my dog, I have 2 dogs, and they have to earn their keep. They're my hunting dogs.
Yeah.
Like, you don't get to come lay inside and, enjoy it if you're not earning your keep around here. So that's kind of my deal too.
I grew up with that. We quail hunted and dove hunted. And of course we had dogs for it and stuff, and that it gets in your mind that everything works. Everybody has a job, and if you don't earn your keep, then why are you there?
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot like baseball, is that if you're not earning your keep, why are you there? I mean, if you're, even if you suck at it, if you're a bench warmer, no, you don't really have that at major league level, but I mean, you're at least, pepping people up. And honestly, the way I look at it is, if you're not pepping your own team up, even if you're the number one player, then why are you there? Because that's part of growing people. Because if you're not doing it, I mean, it makes a huge difference if you have I'm going to throw my age out there. If you have a Mark McGuire out there, I don't know a lot of players anymore. I know I'm horrible because I'm sitting here, talking to you, and I don't really watch baseball a lot anymore.
Nothing wrong with that.
But I don't watch anything. The only sports I really watch every once in a while is fighting, because I grew up fighting, and so you kind of enjoy seeing somebody get punched.
For sure.
But I think everybody, I personally believe that every person should be involved in baseball at one time in their life. Just because there is so much that you learn from that you don't learn from other things.
Yeah.
I mean, and then think about it. You're, swinging at a ball that's coming at you like 90 miles an hour. It hurts a lot.
Yeah.
And I sucked at bat. If I hit the ball, I hit it far. But I never swung. So I got hit by the ball a lot.
Yeah.
That was my way to get on base. And I learned there's always more than one way to skin a cat. And so, my averages and everything sucked. But anyway, so you duck hunt, and I assume that you don't do deer hunt or anything?
Not really, no. I have a buddy who I let deer hunt on our land we have at home, and I'll help him out. I'll go put out some corn and, help him take care of his stuff. But no, not necessarily. I get home right about as bow season start, and I just don't really have any want to.
It's a different kind of hunting.
Yeah.
It's, at least down here, you go up north, I mean, you're tracking animals. But, duck is one of them that it's, there's a lot more rules.
Yeah.
I just, now my buddy Thanksgiving, I go to a buddy's house every year, and the one I was telling you about earlier that goes pheasant hunting, well, he shot a goose. Have you ever eaten goose?
I have.
I had not. That is actually some really good meat.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, it's like if a chicken and a cow decided to have a relationship, that's what it would taste like.
Yeah.
Except for the still shot that you accidentally eat.
You got to be careful there.
Yeah, there's a lot of it. I found all of it.
How was it prepared? How did you eat it?
I think he I don't know. He did something. He'd never fixed it himself, but he's one of them weird guys that likes to cook and stuff and does fancy stuff to it. I think he deep fried it.
Yeah. So I was about to say the best way I've ever had it was just like they tenderized it and like chicken fried it. Yeah. It was very good.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I was actually completely surprised because I don't like fancy stuff. I'm just a basic guy. I mean, I order my burgers with meat and cheese only on it, but yeah, I think it's important that people have hobbies. That's what I was saying. I mean, your hobby is not baseball. And if you were to do that, I think 24/7, do you think you would get burnt out? I mean, if January to December you didn't have a break off?
I see that a lot with a lot of my teammates, and I don't think necessarily I would get burnt out during the season, but it's that aspect of baseball is not going to be forever.
Yeah.
So if you only find your like identity and happiness like in baseball, then one day you're going to lose that, and it's like, what are you going to do? And my dad was always on me about that, you know, growing up. Like, listen, give your all to baseball, give it everything you got, but understand that someday you're not gonna have baseball, you know. So make sure. And that's kind of where hunting fell in place. You know, that's what I tell people. I have no off season. You know, I play baseball and then I come home and I duck hunt. Whereas all my duck hunting friends, they're like, oh, during the off season, you know, talking about the summer.
Yeah.
Then all my baseball friends are like during the off season, talking about the, you know, the winter. And it's like, I have no off season. You know, it's truly just living the dream. I mean, I love to duck hunt and I love baseball. And it's.
So what do you plan on doing after, you know, because baseball will eventually.
Yeah. So I really am not sure. I mean, I have some ideas, but I don't know. I just kind of wherever life takes me, you know. I have the coaching. I would love to coach. I would love to be in baseball in any way, and I think I will have some opportunities whenever my playing career is over to stay in the game as a coach or even possibly like as some kind of coordinator in pro ball or something like that along those aspects. So I have that, and then you know, and then I also the outdoor industry as well. You know, I have.
There's a lot of athletes, country musicians. I mean, that have gotten into outdoor YouTube and stuff like that, and they do really well doing that.
I've been working on starting my own little brand called the Bullpen Outdoors. You know, it's just it's just kind of been.
Now I get it.
Yeah. That's. I started it because I felt like I was over like doing my personal like Instagram with hunting posts.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna make a separate page. Just kind of thought of this name. I was like. And it just, we were talking about that camaraderie aspect. It's like, as a catcher, you spend a lot of time in the bullpen, you know, catching bullpens. And it's like, you sit down there with those pitchers the whole game on days you're not playing. And it's just like the conversations. And it reminds me of the duck blind. You know, you're sitting there on them slow mornings duck hunting. And I was like, that's the perfect way to compare, you know, baseball and duck hunting is just that camaraderie. So that's kind of where the name originated from. And started posting and on that page and built a following and, you know, got some hats out and just kind of slowly. I haven't been putting my full time into it, but I'm kind of just building it up. So whenever baseball is over, that's something I could fall back on. You know, I've made lots of connections with other brands and companies that.
Connections is a huge part of it, no matter how good of I mean, I have a company, Soldier of God Television has started out as Soldier of God Apparel. And then I went to SOG TV, but obviously because I don't want people to think that you have to be this way or that way to be on the podcast or to talk about anything.
For sure.
But if you have people, you know connections, it's a lot easier to get things sold out there because, I mean, but you coming from Chicago Cubs, you know, everybody knows who the Cubs are. You know, even if you don't watch baseball, you know who Chicago Cubs are.
Yeah.
I honestly think they are the American baseball team.
Yeah.
People say Yankees, stuff like that. I was like, yeah, they were bought and paid for.
Yeah, 100%.
And I wouldn't doubt that they're still bought and paid for. I said it. You know, cancel me. But I think you're right. It's important to think what happens later because you're going to end up retired. In fact, most people, I was talking to somebody the other day, I mean, you can stick in a job for 20 years, retire, go to another job for 20 years and retire, you know, and a lot of people do that. People don't stick in the same thing. And so do you have anything to do with charities or anything?
No, not a whole lot necessarily anything in that aspect. But I really haven't had any opportunities to. I've had some ideas of stuff to work on, but I haven't really pursued any of that yet. So kind of a work in progress. Some thoughts.
Takes time, and honestly, nowadays, even donating, I try to donate when I can, just small amounts here and there. You got to be careful of, are you donating it to an administration? Are you donating to the actual people that need it?
That's what always kind of sketches me out about those things is, you know, it's like, what is it really going to, you know? And it's like, I do some smaller stuff, you know, I'll give some stuff. I like giving a lot of stuff back to my high school, you know, help them out in any way. But yeah, that's kind of where it always gets me, you know, it's like, yes, I support what you're talking about. I support what you're doing, but it's like, what's it really going to?
Yeah, because there's a lot of them I found out. I mean, heck, I found out not too long ago, well, about 15 years ago, Goodwill is not actually what you think it is. It's a company.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a nonprofit.
Yeah.
You know, but they really good marketing.
Yeah.
So no, I'm excited. I saw the hats and everything when I was checking everything out. I think it's a great idea. But well, I there's a lot of places I could go, but I think you're probably going to get tired of talking for several
I'm
hours.
good with whatever, whatever you want.
No, I enjoyed it. You know, it's is if you saw a kid, young high school kid, and he was struggling about his future, what would you, how would you approach him? What would you talk to him about?
I would definitely, sit down and just, what's going to make you the happiest? Because at the end of the day, you being happy is what I feel like is the biggest part of anything. And if you're in high school and say you're wanting to be an athlete, it's like, say you're a good baseball player, you have a Division I opportunity, you have a junior college opportunity. It's like, oh man, I really want to go Division I, but it's like, realistically, sometimes you got to look. And it's like, we always have a thing. It's like really good baseball players kind of have to be delusional, like you have to be real with yourself, but you also got to understand who you are and what you want. So you may not be happy if you go to that Division I. It's going to look cool, everybody's going to be like, wow, he's going to Division I. But if you go sit on the bench for 2 years, it's like, is that going to make you happy, in the long run? Where it's like, whereas if you went to this junior college, you're going to go and you're probably going to play right away. And then you could have, all the opportunities you want. And that's the biggest thing, because like I didn't talk to a single Division I college in high school, not
Really?
one. And to me, that was like, wow, all these high school kids, I'm probably never going to play at that level. Then when I came out of Connors, I had 15, 20 Division I offers. Anybody you can imagine, all of them.
Really?
And it's like, and that right there is like my example is like, I took that opportunity and went to Connors, and it's like, look at all the opportunities that opened up that you don't think, might come straight out of high school. So that's the biggest thing, in the long run, is just be real, know who you are, know what you want, and then, go after it. And it's like Perry Keith always said, he said, a dream without a plan is nothing but a wish. And it's like, there you go. Like, that's the same thing. If you can have a dream to be a professional baseball player, but if you don't have that plan, a realistic plan, then it's a wish, and that's the biggest thing. And that's what I would really try to tell anybody that I ever spoke to about that.
So stop wishing, start planning.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Build a plan, have a purpose about it, and go take care of business. And let the Lord lead you where he wants you.
I think that's sound advice.
Good.
Well, I certainly appreciate it. I'm sure it's going to help somebody out there.
Yeah,
I know that. I mean, I just know how this stuff works, sort of, kind of, a little bit. A lot of people don't get to hear the real side of people.
Mm-hmm.
They don't get to hear anything about baseball and how athletes are actually doing. They think they just went straight from here to here.
Yeah.
And if you want to be a professional baseball player, you go to Division I. Mm-hmm. That's how you do it. You just jump from there to there. And, so I think it's important to distinguish between a plan and in an actual goal with a plan. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's even with my life, it was like, I signed to go to Connors, like, wow, I'm happy. Like, this is awesome. I'm content. And then I got to Connors, like, okay, I want to go D1 now, and then that happened. It's like, okay, wow, I'm happy. Yeah. Then it was, I just want to play professional baseball. That's all I want. Yeah. And it's like, then I got to professional baseball, and it's like, wow, I want to go to low A. I want to go to high, double A, triple A, and then the big leagues, and it's like, I feel like doing that, like kind of subconsciously, it's like you get to that goal or that part of your plan, and it's like, okay, I made it here. And a lot of people, I feel like, may get content, but it's like, all right, you want that next one automatically, Yeah. And it's like, and I feel like that's all part of the plan. My goal is to be a Major League Baseball player, and it's like step by step, like, all right, this is a part of the plan. Got here, all right, now what's the next step? And just taking it one step at a time.
Just don't stop.
Don't
quit.
That's right. Adversity.
Well, Caleb, I certainly appreciate it. Everybody else does appreciate it and stuff. So tune in. Your season starts?
Our season will actually start April.
April?
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you.
Definitely, I enjoyed having you. May try to have you on again sometime.
Yeah, anytime.
But I assume you're going to stay around for the next couple of months?
Oh, yeah. I'll be here. It's an easy drive.
Yes. It wasn't very far. I was like, I wonder.
Yeah.
I was like, sent a message. I mean, you never know until you try.
Never know. That's right.
Anyway, I appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you very much. I appreciate you.
Man.
Yep.
Guys, I certainly appreciate y'all watching this. Stay in peace. Stay in love.
Hey guys, I want to personally thank everyone for liking and sharing my videos. If you want to continue to see my content, all you got to do is press that subscribe button and I'll notify you as soon as a new video comes out. I don't get paid for any of this. So if you want to buy some of my merch, like my shirts, like Jesus is a Badass or my Don't Be a Dick shirt, you can easily go to my merch store, which is at sogtv.org, which I will have it in the description at every video. So push that, go buy yourself a shirt. I appreciate it. Have a blessed day, and I will see you at the next episode. Thank you.